Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts, opinions, and feels on Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second book in the Grisha trilogy, and I also did a review on the first book. If you want to go hear my thoughts on Shadow and Bone, I will leave a link down below. But today we're going to be talking about Siege and Storm, even though, to be perfectly honest, I don't have too much to say about this book, but so many of you guys have been requesting that I do a full video review on this book, so that's what I'm going to do today. As a whole, I love Siege and Storm so much more than Shadow and Bone. I wasn't a massive fan of Shadow and Bone, but Siege and Storm left a better impression on me. This book to me really felt like a filler book. It just felt like this book was there to lead you into the last book. That doesn't mean it wasn't good. It was great. I still really enjoyed my time reading it, but I just felt like the plot really suffered in this book. As a whole, I expected there to be much more going on with the plot, but there really wasn't that much going on. We definitely have some very important plot points that take place in this book, and they definitely kind of shape where this series is going, but for the most part, I felt like there was a lot of just waiting around and just kind of lulls in the plot. But I think what I'm beginning to realize with this story is that it's a very character-driven story, which is fine. I just think that I went in with the expectation that I was going to be blown away by every aspect of the story, and that's not been the case. We get quite a few new characters within this book, which I was super pumped about because I love basically every new character that was introduced. I loved Nikolai. His character is so great, and I'm so excited to see more from him in the next book. Then we've got the introduction of Toilia. I think that's how you say it. Toila, I can't pronounce that. And Tamar, and I loved their characters so much. They were so great and just so supportive, and we're just constantly by Alina's side, and I just love them so much. They're my baes, my little babies. They were just so loyal to Alina, and I just loved them so much. I just want to like give them a hug. I just want to hug them. In this book, I will say that I started to enjoy Alina so much more than I did in the first book. I found her really aggravating in the first book, but in this book I just started to love her so much more, which is interesting because I really liked Mal in the first book, but in this book, I liked him a lot less. Like, I just really didn't like him in this book. He was so whiny and needy, and I'm just like, whoa, what is going on, dude? Chill out. The scenes with Mal and Alina together were just so frustrating, and there was just such a lack of communication, which I find is often the case in a lot of relationships and young adult literature. There's a major lack of communication, and you're like, yo, come on, just talk it out, and you can figure this out. But that just never really ends up happening, and there's usually a lot of frustration going on between the two characters, and just never really works out good. The Darkling's presence within this book was super creepy. There's not a lot of the Darkling in this book. I was expecting him to be in it a little bit more, but I still found his presence within this book super fascinating. He's clearly still terrible, but I still found it really interesting how he was even making an appearance within this book. So those are my thoughts, opinions, and feels on Siege and Storm. Like I said, I didn't have much to say about this book, but I am really interested to see what happens in the final book, Ruin and Rising. I'm so interested to see what happens in Ruin and Rising because everybody seems so up in the air about it. They either love it or they just straight up hate it. So I'm really interested to see what I think of it. You guys should let me know down below if you have read this book and what you thought of it. Who was your favorite character in this book? I think mine would definitely have to be Toilia, I can't even say it, and Tamar. Their new additions were just my fave. I love them so much, and I can't wait to see more of them in the next book. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Later. So those are my... What? What are those? What are those? What are those? Car driving by. Hey, hey. Car driving by.